So, so we're back here once again here on Couch Coach Live. Yes, sir. We're here Friday nights under the lights here at the den of Legacy Internet Radio, LegacyInternetRadio.com. We are part of the Legacy Media Group, where independence is the key to building your legacy. And of course, once again, we're here. I got my man Sean over here. What's going on, man?
What's you feeling?
Coach? Yes, sir. You know, there's trouble in Ohio, man.
Oh, my goodness. I haven't been hearing you right now.
What's going on? Special guest in the building. What's going on, man? Tell them who you are, man.
Yeah, PJ.
PJ, yeah, come on. Yeah.
Sean's homie from way back in high school.
Yeah.
Trying to get a piece of the action out here.
Yes, sir, man. You know. Yes,
well, welcome.
Welcome.
Frank McKinney, DJ Ken has been resurrected.
Yes, sir.
PJ and all of them.
Yeah. So definitely shout out for Sean Love and PJ to come, here on Couch Coach Live. And like we were saying, momentarily before we got in, there's trouble in Paradise area in Ohio, but we'll get to the Kyrie Irving story at the bottom of our second hour here on Couch Coach Live. But of course, we definitely got to start off today with our boy OJ. So, of course, on Thursday, the Nevada parole board, decided to free O.J. Simpson, of course, and this is on his role in the 2007 conviction of his armed robbery, where he was serving a 9 to 33 year sentence. So, of course, since the 9 years is pretty much here, that was the reason why he was up for parole once again. So, of course, he'll be released as early as October the 1st. And you know what was so funny about, I guess, before I, give my take on it, I want to go around the room. PJ, you want to go first? What's your thoughts about this whole, not the coverage of this, more so of your thoughts of when you found out yesterday that this happened?
I'm not really shocked. I'm not amazed, OJ, he's been humble, so, why not give him a shot? To see, what comes of it. So, I just got the news on it, but to be honest with you, could be that, we be trying to let him out so then they can throw him back in for somebody. Because there's always some kind of conspiracy theories going on. So, interesting. Yeah. So, that's my take on it.
Yeah. Sean Lowe?
How I'm looking at it. I really was like, I'm looking at it from afar. It seemed like they were being somewhat promoting this moment if he was going to be paroled or not. We had seen ESPN documentary on him, and they won an award. We won they had one of the top shows based upon that incident. You know what I mean? Dave Chappelle said something about it on his big stand-up was 3 or 4 jokes that was on Netflix. He 3 or 4 jokes about OJ and how he met him. So when you look at it, he paid his dues, but I heard another show, Legacy, people didn't really think he was gonna get out, and I was like, some of the things that gentleman was saying, he was basically saying it was his first offense, and he went in and he got 9 years for his first offense. I was kind of like, then a customer of mine told me that he was living well while he was in prison. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he didn't get no trouble. He paid his dues. Let him out. Now he's about to get a lot of money.
Yeah.
I said,
that's how it usually is when the celebrity get out.
Yeah. But P, you said something that was slick, man. I didn't even think that he may get out there and may try to get him back in. But like I said, it was a big thing for his parole hearing to be on. It stopped everything. It cut out the Conor McGregor and Floyd energy that was popping out.
Yeah. It stopped in the tracks.
Yeah. So, Coach, what you think, bro?
To me, once I was hearing, as far as from the legal people, that it was gonna, and everybody was kind of aligned of the situation. Like they were saying, well, the chances are it was going to be very likely that he was going to get parole because they looked at it from a standpoint of he during this sentence, he had no write-ups. He had no infractions. And they also other key factors they were talking about as far as but as far as, you know, what has happened during this time in jail, his age, and also if he was affiliated with any gangs or what was his plan as far as rehabilitation. It's a lot of factors that went into it. So
they sure he wasn't hurt.
Yeah, you know, and we don't know. We can't speculate.
You know, so he went pyro, right?
You know,
but
I don't think that's possible. And of course, they looked at this as the whole risk factor as far as going back to society and to think he's a 70-year-old man and, you know, with no write-ups. So it looked like it was going to be pretty much a showing. And I think a lot of people said even if he was denied parole, that it would have looked bad because the parole board is pretty much by the book. They, you know, have some, you know, that particular committee is by the book, where they do based on a point scale. So it looked like he checked all the boxes prior to it. Anyway, that's why a lot of people, when the story came out, because I've heard about this story maybe about almost a year ago. You know, I think, matter of fact, they were talking about it last year during the OJ 30 for 30 documentary, where they were saying how, you know, this time next year he could be free. And I remember them talking about that. So I was like, you know, and that's when you kind of know, like, maybe this is a possibility. And, I mean, to me, and what sickens me about the whole thing, and I'm like, you know, people still want to cast aspersion of what happened in 1994. And I understand what people go from there, but we still got to realize in the grand scheme of things that he was found not guilty for that. And we got to keep that in the past. And my thing is, this is going on based on what happened in 2007. I hate when people use that as an, you know, to try him in that type of way. And for this particular crime that he committed, for the armed robbery, that's how, in a sense, and I'm not trying to say how the justice system is fair and unfair, but at this time, with the 9 years being in there, he served his time for that particular crime. And when you think about it, giving him 33 years was going to be egregious anyway. And I think even when you think about 9 years for that type of infraction is very, you know, it's kind of harsh. I mean, you know, I'm not be real. And I'm not what you call an OJ apologist. That's what I'm saying. Like, and I'm not trying to say like I'm an OJ apologist or the type of situation, but I mean, he served his time. And my thing is, people were so like when we were talking about it, you know, prior when we went on air, people were talking about, well, he lived in a minimum security prison. He had, you know, these luxuries like cable TV, this, that, third, but he's still in jail. You're still in jail. I mean, you're still in student life. I mean, that's fine. He's able to maybe watch, you know, certain channels. I mean, but do he got Wi-Fi?
Yeah. He had Wi-Fi.
Well, but I'm saying, you know. But
everything, you know, bottom line, they took his freedom. I got what you're saying. Yeah. You know what I mean? And really, most people believe that it was because he did get off back in '94.
Yeah, and that's what That's
what most people really believe, because, you know. But the biggest argument to me is when the gentleman on a listening party on Tuesday was 7. Family.
And I was lucky enough to be on there. So definitely shout out to KB and Reeves One.
He said something that was true. It was his first offense. You know what I mean? And it had never been. You know, that was his first offense, and he got 9 years. Yeah. Wow. You know what I mean? But he's out now. You know what I mean? You know, my thing is the biggest question. This may be a long subject. Is Khloe Kardashian his daughter? I mean, I'm just wondering. DNA test on that's one of those things where I don't know. There is a, you know. I was looking at the forehead. And the forehead, I was like,
there are various opinions and various, not factual, but a lot of tea leaves that we'll probably divulge in maybe at a prior or maybe off air. We'll definitely discuss that type of thing. We gotta see this. We not, we ain't gonna turn it to TMZ. But I mean, it's just, and I think, and going back to it because it was so funny, and I'll be a little transparent. Here on Couch Life, I'll be a little transparent. So, of course, and this is just a little sad story. Because I knew of the O.J. Simpson case, the parole hearing was going to be aired on ESPN. So what I did, I had yesterday. So yesterday it's about 12:30, whatever. So I watch a certain thing on television at that time of day, and that's generational. That was something that my family, I had to watch. It was something I was forced to watch. And I now watch it as an adult. So they cut into that.
Wow.
So and that lets me know that the celebrity of O.J. Simpson is still there.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where we talked about earlier just how, and it's funny, especially, and I think, I look on Facebook as far as some of my friends on there, and also what you can do is you can check us out here on our Facebook page on the Couch Coach Live, where you can check us out live. You can look at us, and also you can also listen to us on LexiandNetRadio.com. But I noticed a lot of people on my Facebook timeline, as far as in there, like a lot of younger people, like in their 20s and what have you, and they're just like, why are they cutting into OJ? He's that disappointing. But I think people don't understand, and this is something that I had learned too, because I'm only 32, so the OJ I know is the OJ. 1994 and to the present day. I didn't really, until becoming a savant as far as learning sports and just everything, being a historian of it now at this point, that the magnitude of how OJ was, how he was such a polarizing figure, how even in the documentary definitely shed a lot of light as far as how this guy, in the sense and this is in their words, this is how the cinematography came, and it's not what I'm saying or what I'm surmising my thought process, but this is how it was viewed in a cinematography type of fashion. That he was the guy that bridged the gap between the black guy that was in USC, where he was like the buffer between because USC at that time was a predominantly white school,
I got you.
And on the other side of USC was the hood. And OJ was in a sense how they portrayed in the movie he was this nice clean divide, and how that transcended into his professional career with with the Bills and being in the NFL, of how he was pretty much one of the first black athletes to be pretty much a prized commodity as far as in the advertising world with his various different types of commercials and stuff. So he's when we think about the LeBron James and Michael Jordans of our era, he was in essence the vanguard. He was the blueprint. He was the first guy there. So of course, even at 70, he's still a polarizing figure.
Yeah, you're right. Because I'm sitting here as you're talking, I'm thinking about all those guys, all those different athletes that was black. And you're right, he was the one that had the smile, had the charisma.
Yeah, he was.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, he was that guy. I see what you're saying.
And then right, and even piggyback on his personality. Because OJ, I think even to this point, even at the age of 70, he has a certain je ne sais quoi, like a type of aura around him that it's no pause, but it's kind of charming. Pause. But I mean, yeah. Right. Huh?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, you have to do that because I mean, it's. But I mean, to be honest with you, he is that kind. He's an alluring type of figure where he's,
Yeah, you remember him in '94? Like I remember him from Funny Movies.
I remember
the Naked Gun movies. You know what I mean? But you're right. Like the athlete, and when you think of the '70s, I don't see really no athlete that had his personality. I really can't see. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was a rebel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He was the blueprint. And then when Dr. J came, Dr. J knew exactly what to do and how to do it. So they matched because of OJ. I hear you.
And that's what
So he paved the way.
He paved the way. He paved the way big time for him. And And it's one of those things where, and I hope that he does, get back and and can have a successful life. I mean, at this point, you don't want to. I mean, he's 7 years old, so I mean, it's to a point where I just, I hope he, like you said, like we were talking, like he was saying, PJ, like I hope if he, because I know there's going to be a lot of money, a lot of opportunities coming to him, that he doesn't, that he's smart enough to know what's a good investment and what is not, as far as the type of people, because we look at even in the 30 for 30, we're looking at right around like 2000 of how, when he's in Miami doing all that crazy stuff and, having DVD drops and all this type of stuff and crazy stuff. Yeah, and that's my thing. And I don't want him to.
A couple months, bro. He has a couple months to somebody to put a team around him. Like, for instance, I know we just said that name, you said that's PMG, but they didn't get famous until that trial.
Well, to an extent. And you're right.
No, listen to what I'm saying.
Okay.
They have a lot of reality shows, and I'm telling you, this incident right here, that's his name is going to be brought up in some type of way.
Oh,
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I'm sure that might be a payoff right there. You know what I mean? And I'm just saying, it's things of that nature. It's going to be a lot of that.
Yeah, but I mean, that case in essence planted the seed. It was one of those where it connected the dots. Yeah. Now we don't know what really made that case.
That's not what I'm saying.
I mean,
I feel you.
It's a new age, and I said we know he's getting out. To the first, so
that's true.
He's gonna be able to put his little team together.
I think
social media team and the whole nine. He's gonna be all right.
And I think OJ probably has already built the team. To be honest with you, probably from the moment he.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
if you really want to be honest with you, his name has, for the last probably since last year, his name has been thrown out there a lot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's my thing. And I think he'll be fine. I think he's gonna be all right. I mean, don't cry for you, OJ. OJ gonna be all right.
Just get a driver, and just hopefully, man. Honestly, he just humble up, settle in, and he ain't got to do too much.
And a lot of people saying that they looked at him maybe he could do like a podcast deal or something like that nature. And that's why I'm like, I don't think the world is ready for an OJ podcast. I mean, to be honest with you, I don't know.
I don't know what he gonna do from that stuff. Like, really, like I was just speaking on, when you're an athlete trying to find, or you've done something and successful, to try to find something else that you can get into. Like Kobe was saying that he really liked documentaries and speaking on documentaries. He likes it. That's his new passion, right? And I'm just hoping that maybe that's OJ can find something that he may like.
And it's a possibility. He can. I mean, and I'd rather that than if I have because my biggest thing with the podcast thing is what would be the subject matter and what. You know what I'm saying?
If I really
and that's what
I really killed her, then
and
how can I get over this fence with this bad meat?
Some of that, and that's my biggest fear. Like as far as
I don't know what he's gonna do.
Is it gonna be a situation where he can, not trying to say incriminate himself, but open up a can of worms that he shouldn't even open up. And that's my thing. Like with him. He's the type of person. He's the type that he can win you over with a smile or talk or whatever. But he's the type of person that can talk himself into some stuff. He looks like that type of person that if he let him keep talking, he's gonna talk and get himself incriminate himself. So that's why I watch out for the conspiracy theory. Right. That we discussed.
Yeah. Pretty much got an idea like, okay, we'll let him hang this up.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Because they know he can.
Yeah, exactly.
So I just hope we get a team together that he can express and they can put the right words on through Twitter.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Or IG for real, like he just need to give him a young team and let them do what they do.
And and do what it is.
I don't know if he's gonna be trying. I'm gonna go speak at a few colleges or something. Tomato or something like that.
Right. Perhaps. Yeah. So how we're gonna do? We'll transition now. We'll talk a little Michael Vick, of course. And it's funny funny that Michael Vick is in the headlines this week because we just talked about him and actually on our list, our top 5 list last week we did a countdown of our top 5 Virginia athletes, and for the consensus, I know me, you, I think LA chimed in, Mr. 3375 chimed in, a couple other guys chimed in. I think it was like 1 and 2 was like Allen Iverson and Michael Vick. Mm-hmm. Now, of course, if you've been, sleeping under a rock this week, it would get you caught up. So Michael Vick went on Speak for Yourself on Monday. Out of all places that have our guy, well, not our guy, but, our Jason Whitlock, their guy. I'll put it that way. So, of course, so he said, of course they asked him, questions, and they asked him about Colin Kaepernick, and they asked him in essence what can bring him back in the league. Pretty much, what can he do to get himself back in the league? Now, of course, Michael Vick did say that he needs to change the image that of course, for him to return to the NFL, he must cut his hair and change his image. Yeah. And so funny about that, and it was very interesting. And then the next day, Colin Kaepernick posted on his Instagram page, he posted a statement about the Stockholm Syndrome. If you're not familiar with the Stockholm Syndrome, it's pretty much the abuse. It's pretty much the summary is pretty much goes like this: where an abused victim develops respect and empathy towards their abuser. Pretty much victim brainwashing. Mm-hmm. So of course, that was linked to that was his response to Michael Vick, him cutting his hair. Now, what are you guys' thoughts about that? Sean Love, you want to go first?
Go ahead.
PJ?
All right. I knew, I didn't look it up, but I knew you would break it down. Yeah. And, for me, I got locks now. I used to have cornrows, right? Yeah. When I first started growing my hair, everybody looked at me differently. I had some of the people who loved me to death start asking questions. Mm-hmm. Why are you growing your hair? So people's perception of you is different. You know what I mean? The problem was what we were just saying the last time about OJ is that you might not be the best person to speak on it. And I think now I'm starting to understand what Michael Vick was saying. This is the certain stuff that people say, why would he say that? You know what I mean? That he should cut his hair. But if you try to clean your image, that's one of the things that you would try to do is cut your hair. There's a lot of people who can't get jobs and this and that because they have their locks. That's true. You understand what I'm saying? And I got a friend of mine who said, well, you just cut your hair. It's gorgeous. You know what I mean? Right. Now, it shouldn't have anything to do with that. Now, with Michael Vick saying that, it kind of hurt because people still buy him, so they're looking at him like it's a mature thing of what he said also. You understand what I'm saying? To say, hey, he needs to change it, he needs to cut his hair, blah, 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 right? But at the same time, we're at a different place right now. We know what Colin Kaepernick is really, really trying to stand for. You understand what I'm saying? He's really the only one that would stand for it. At one time in the 70s, it meant something for you to do something, and not just for a black man to do it, all different types of races to do it. You understand what I'm saying? If you really understand what it means about kneeling down, I watched the Jungle Book, and when the elephants was respected, you kneel down to the elephants. You understand what I'm saying? So we had to have somebody who crying out because easily it's people that's get shot by these police officers. It could be me. It's embarrassing to get pulled over when you have 2 of your Caucasian friends in the car, and the guy, you got everything that you need, and then he takes you out the car and walk you to the back away from them, and then they say, why did he do that? You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Which is one of the reasons they don't want us to hang anyway, because then you see the truth. Now, I understand, I had a lady spoke to me, she said she's very patriotic about, so that's why she don't like the 49ers, because he's doing that, but you got to understand the bigger picture. Somebody got to say something. Right. I mean, I'll get tired of waking up every time I'm on Facebook, and we got Facebook Live, and, he's getting treated a certain type of way. Now it's getting to the point that people are getting scared to not have, when a cop pulls them over and they don't know why the cop is pulling them over. Right. You understand what I'm saying? Right. We have to have somebody to represent that, because it's not just really a black thing, it's also a white thing too, because it's happening both sides. Somebody's got to stick up for that, and that's what he's doing. And the funny thing is, I do believe it was a publicity stunt at first, because he wanted to leave 49ers. But sometimes you hear a voice and you think that it's for that. Now Collins is actually understanding his true calling. You understand what I'm saying? And like, I'm going to retract a couple of shows ago last month. I don't think he's going to play in the NFL.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
PJ?
Well, I respect everything that he stood for.
Yeah.
You know, just to piggyback off what you were saying, that, you know, seeing all these police killings for innocent black males, he probably felt like enough was enough. So I feel like being that he's not in, like he's a free agent right now, is probably because he took a knee during the national anthem, right? And as far, I saw the video what Vick was saying, and it didn't look like he was trying to bash him or anything.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's more like, think about how Jay-Z was trying to school these young cats about wear button-ups and Chris Keys instead of, you know, shagging your pants and everything. I look at it, as far as that, but I don't know, man. I just...
And that's
that's all.
And that's funny, and I'm funny that you brought that up about how people view you a certain way, because that's what happened to me. So I had dreadlocks from 2006 through 13. So I cut my hair in 13, and I remember I cut my hair, and it's a somebody at the time. He was a very higher up at the job I had at that current time. And I remember he looked at me. He was like, "You look great. You have a haircut. Nice, well-groomed haircut." And he's just like, "You look great." That's what he said. And you saying it's funny because, and I'm thinking to myself, like, I looked like this, 2 weeks ago. I mean, I had, as far as groomed with my beard and what have you. I just had locks, but of course I had it, nice and clean and neat and whatever. But you're saying there is the perception, and this is something that I talked about on the listening party. Had the great, privilege to go on the show the other day. Let you catch them on Tuesdays from 7 to 9 here on LexiandNetRadio.com. Shout out to KB and Reeves. Now, when you say stuff like that, and I understand where you're coming from. Michael Vick says that, but that's dangerous. That's dangerous rhetoric because, and I understand where you're coming from, but there's going to be people that can't articulate it the way you do it, the way that you and PJ put it.
He was the wrong one.
That is dangerous to say that all he need to do is cut his hair in order for him to get back in the good graces of the NFL. When we know at the end of the day, that is not that. When we talked about it, I even brought this up on the show on Tuesday. When I heard an anonymous GM say that they view Colin Kaepernick just like they view Ray Caruth, that lets me know he will never ever play in this league. I don't care if he cut his hair, he bleaches his skin. I don't care what he do up until this point. This kid can save 1,000 people out of a burning tree. He'll never play in the NFL because of that anonymous GM statement.
He knows it.
And that's why with Michael Vick saying that is dangerous, because that is so dangerous to say that. And then you gotta look at it from him. He got baited into that because, and what happened? See, with him going into that show too, and it's even worse because because Jason Whitlock is a co-host of that show. So of course, everything that so-called, I'm not even trying to say like, he goes the opposite way of what you would expect him to do as far as certain issues at hand. And, and sometimes he has points and certain things that he do and he don't. But a lot of his stuff is colluded, to be honest with you. Now, like I was saying, it's just, it's minutia. I mean, but I'm saying, it's like that. But there's gonna be people out here that thinks all Colin Kaepernick has to do is cut his hair because a guy like a Michael Vick, who went to jail for 23 months in Leavenworth prison in Leavenworth, Kansas, because he went to jail. If it wasn't for Tony Dungy, who knows what his career would have been? And if he didn't have a guy like a Andy Reid that took him under his wing, he would be in the same predicament.
And it's crazy. Listen to everything that you're saying right here too. when you Dungy or something. Nobody wants to
Right,
touch
and that's my biggest thing, because when you got somebody that respected now, and my thing, and I hate how I hate doing this, but we just doing this for fodder because we're doing this on the show.
Mm-hmm.
Him out of all people should reach out to him, and what kills me, and that's something I'm gonna bring up, and we talked about this on the listening party on Tuesday. What really pisses me off the most about it is people are making these excuses and concessions about him. And it really pisses me off. And it's one of those things where it's dangerous when people say, well, okay, the reason why Colin Kaepernick ain't in the league because he's a vegan. Well, Tom Brady's a vegan. And the activism thing, that solely pisses me off. And I'm like, okay, well, he's too much about the movement, too much of the cause. But it's okay. But we have a situation in the NFL where every player in the NFL is awarded yearly for each team called the Walter Payton Man of the Year Award. That goes to the person who does the most communities, who does community service within their communities. Mm-hmm. So you don't think Colin Kaepernick giving suits to guys who are convicted felons that are trying to get their life together? You don't think that's not worthy of a cause?
It's crazy.
But they want you to do it on their own way. They want you to, he didn't build a house for Habitat for Humanity. Mm-hmm. He didn't go to a children's center to visit sick children.
Well,
because what it is activism is helping people.
It's helping.
It's helping people that honestly, their grand scheme of things don't give a damn about.
What about my man that played for the Browns back in the day?
Jim Brown?
Jim Brown. Why'd you do that? I know what you're saying.
We'll talk about that off the air.
Okay, but what I'm saying is just certain. I don't understand. I'm gonna keep it up. I don't care. I'm grown.
Yeah,
I don't understand the generations above us. See, we at a certain place, so we respect the older and we respect the young, right? Yeah. And I don't understand. If you grew up, I was born in the late 70s. You grew up in the 60s and 70s. How are you gonna really judge a young man that is basically wearing his hair the way you wore it? You understand what it's supposed to mean, or you know what I mean? And I'm speaking about a certain book writer, a certain talk show host, game show host, and has his own radio show also. Yeah. Who's gonna say, I see a young man who he's suited and booted, nice edge up. He got everything going well. He got all these degrees, but he said, but I can't even really look over that because I'm looking at his hair. I'm looking at his locks.
Right. And so shout out to our guy Ron for checking us out here on Facebook Live. And he's right. We all know he's helping the wrong color people. And he's right. And that's and I agree. And go back to your hair point. And this is something that definitely shout out to Marcus J. And hashtag Marcus J. Mondays at 7:00. LexingtonRadio.com. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, he don't like. I don't blame him. Mm-hmm. And he said how with the Afro aspect, because Afro, in a sense, it comes from it's a source of power.
Yeah.
So that's another reason why the hair cutting aspect goes into play. And I'm glad he brought that point up very eloquently on Tuesday's show. And I was like, you know what, that's right. Because when they see a man of his stature, Afro, they see him as a man of power, and they want to, in essence, to weaken him because of that. And that's why the whole hair cutting thing goes into.
But it's them, but it's also a lot of those older guys that's of power of our race that is also judging that. And I don't understand that. I'm like, why would you, if you know this person's a good person, so you trying to tell me this dude that got a fade, waves, and this, and that, you be the 30th person? Oh, nah, but he look good in the suit. You don't want him besides. You gotta start judging people by their character.
That's true, and that's true. You're right, and I like, and it's funny. Like, you can tell you'll tell the difference between how when you had a low haircut versus dreads. There is a certain different level of different. There's so many different different types of intrinsic things that you can see. You're like, whoa, like, I mean, I'm the same person. I mean, almost like I want to be an R&B kind of dude. I'm not like any R&B. I'm not my hair, but it's
coming from a person that shocked me. That it's probably listened to his show no more. Like, it shocked me to come from that because for years I had a toupee.
Oh, Oh, I mean, yeah.
But I'm just saying, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
They just, I don't know, man. They just.
But
Somebody's character. You standing up for something that you believe in.
Anyway, my man. See, I'm trying to be judicious and trying to be productive, and then stuff comes up on your feed and it just blows your mind away. But continue.
But you know, I think you know what's funny. Like I said, he can run fast with the ball. He was a great quarterback, but he just wasn't the wrong one to speak about it.
Yeah,
and they knew it.
And my thing is this, and you know, to wrap this up, that his stats, people kept on saying, well, he's not good enough. But I'm like, if a guy who is putting up 16 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, he would be $100 million quarterback in this league. Point blank. We all know. If it wasn't for what, you know, as far as the stance that he's taking, he would be $100 million quarterback. And speaking of a guy that is on the verge of being $100 million quarterback, let's now talk about Kirk Cousins. Don't do that. Don't do that. Anyway, be respectful. Trust me. If you gonna be that way, when this Cleveland stuff, trust me. Don't get mad. 2018, but she gonna hit the fan.
And stop it.
It's gonna hit the fan in 2018. Whatever. Anyway,
what you talk about?
We're talking about. All right. So now, of course, now it was very, very interesting about this whole Kirk Cousins ordeal. Now, of course, on the 17th, which was on Tuesday, was supposed to be the deadline. Well, it was Monday. The deadline for him to sign a long-term deal or to continue with his franchise tag. Now, of course, the Redskins, they quote unquote said that they offered him a $53 million contract. Well, they offered him a $53 million guaranteed contract. They haven't really talked about the numbers as far as the long-term deal, but at least 53 was guaranteed. But they said Kirk Cousins declined it. He pretty much wanted to, take a chance on himself this year. And of course, he'll be making $25 million this season. So they say even if they sign another, franchise tag with him, altogether it would be like 52 points of $1 million.
Kirk Cousins?
Yeah. I think a lot of people don't understand this. And I'm going to be real with you. Because when you look at it, the market, and that's why, people got to understand there's market value in this. With a guy like him, who in essence is he's on the verge of being a 5,000 yard passing league.
Okay.
So, he's been putting up pretty good numbers. And and people will say that, well, this is a quarterback driven league, but there's a lot of guys who don't get to 4,900 yard passing seasons, period. And my thing is this, and it was just very weird how all the stuff came out. Of course, the Redskins talked about this deal that they were supposed to get with him. What they offered him with the $53 million guarantee. And then with Bruce Allen, they talked to Tim about it, and they kept his Kirk Cousins, Kirk, but Bruce Allen kept on referring him as to Kurt, Kurt.
I got you.
So a lot of people, they were saying, well, maybe because of his accent, but little do you know, Bruce Allen is from Virginia. He's actually from this area. Definitely. Shout out to the former University of Richmond standout. But this is my thing. And people always been asking my opinion about this whole Kirk Cousins thing.
Because you about to ask me, and I just want you to talk about it. I'm sure you're happy.
To me, it's almost like this. When you get a guy of that nature, and my thing is, he was a 4th round draft pick for a reason.
All right.
And I'm gonna be real with you. And you gotta. This is where you kind of come in the middle. And you gotta think to yourself: has he overachieved to a point where you think there's going to be has he peaked, or has he already reached his potential?
Are you asking me?
No, I'm just saying I'll answer
that.
Well, what's your
I
opinion?
felt like he's always been like a temp player, and I think he deserved the money that he's supposed to get. Because he was there with RG3. Was he there before?
He got drafted. They got drafted the same year.
Okay, and I think he done fought through that. He done fought through. We need a quarterback, and he deserved it. So you can somewhat start committing to him and build something around him.
And my thing is, and everybody just goes back and forth with it. And I'm like, to be honest with you, when you got a guy like him, and I tell people, it's hard to get a quarterback in this league. People just think they just grow out of trees and they just, you can just pick one out and he'll just, do his thing. I understand that Kirk Cousins has mistakes here and there, but with the right coaching, that type of stuff can be tweaked. Mm-hmm. And I still think he's a savant, and as far as a good learner of the game. I think, yeah. Huh?
Our head coach,
I think so, and I think what hurts him, I think his development. I really honestly think coaching in a sense, because I think honestly between Kyle Shanahan and Sean McVay, both now that coaches. Of course, Shanahan is at San Francisco, and McVay is with the Rams. Mm-hmm. And I think, and honestly, they did a great job with him. But of course, during that time, McVay did a great job with him last year and in the last couple of years. Mm-hmm. But I think Shanahan, if management were the upper ups, mm-hmm. If they believed in Kirk Cousins at that time, that he would have definitely flourished under Kyle Shanahan. And honestly, and I actually like what Kirk Cousins is doing in the sense he's taking a chance on himself every year. And what he's doing is he's getting ready to cash in on a nice contract next year.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
And he's being very smart. And I think Kirk Cousins is going to be one of those guys. I think when we look at, especially going into free agency next year, it's going to be very interesting of how guys are going to move in the future. He's going to be one of those kind of a transcendent type of guy where people looking at it as like, okay, maybe I should go for the franchise. And being a franchise tag previously was like, oh man, I don't want to be franchised. But now we look at him, he's getting paid. Of course, when you're a franchise, you get paid. You get pretty much. You're like in the top 5 as far as your position if you franchise. Okay. So that in essence gives you a little bit of leverage. But he has the ultimate leverage because even if he struggles this year, which I don't think he's going to struggle. But anyway,
just talk. I don't even know.
I don't know what I'm saying. I don't have to. But anyway, I think even if he doesn't struggle, there's going to be a lot of excuses on him as far as they would say, well, if he has a down year, they say, well, he didn't have Garcon or Jackson, or certain things. So he's going to cash in. And I definitely think that this is last year with the Redskins. I say he's either going to go to San Francisco or he's going to be with the Rams. I think next year he's going to be in California. He's going to be, and I think I'm telling you, if he goes either San Francisco or Los Angeles, he's going to tear his league apart.
So, who are you blaming about this? So I hear what you're saying. You think that more players are going to say, "Hey, franchise tag me," right? So, I
think more so now because I think when you see what's going to happen with Kirk Cousins, especially mm-hmm. at the quarterback position, mm-hmm. where and how he in a sense is carrying this, mm-hmm. it's gonna help him in the long run. I think Kirk Cousins knows at the end of the day that.
No, go ahead. Do you think that the Redskins should have gave him the deal earlier and committed to him saying that this is his team?
To be honest with you, yeah, because you would have got him at cheaper.
Okay.
At that point, I think even at one point I forgot what year it was. It was when it guaranteed him like $60 million, mm-hmm. which I'm like that's a bargain for a starting quarterback at that particular time. Mm-hmm. Now he's gonna probably have to get like Derek Carr money or more.
Yeah. So why did Jackson?
I don't know if it's. Who knows? I don't know if it's a situation where Tampa Bay just presented the. If you ask me personally, he's in a better spot because he has a guy with Jameis Winston there, which I think even in the same lines would kind of almost in equal with Tempe as far as getting as far as we both were like playoff contending teams that didn't make it. But yeah,
what I'm saying from a chemistry standpoint, do you think that he was bothered with like, okay, they're not going to play this guy, so I don't know if this guy's going to be here from a cornerback standpoint?
Well, yeah, maybe because of the future is uncertain. Because we know that Jameis Winston is going to be there for the foreseeable future. Yeah. Barring anything catastrophic.
I believe Jackson. I believe to me, he's the type of receiver that means a lot. He needs some type of chemistry.
And I think him going to Tampa Bay is going to definitely help him. I mean, you got guys there too, because you're looking at him teaming up with a guy like a Mike Evans, and I think he made the right decision. And then I even think Pierre did it. Going to San Francisco is going to help big time, because I definitely think ultimately he's going to go to San Francisco. I mean, that's if I had to put all my money into something, it would be Kirk Cousins going to San Francisco.
With those Shanahan years?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I think my thing is the Shanahans. I mean, and people used to clown me, and it was like, because I was like, well, Kyle Shanahan, he's gonna be an NFL head coach one day, and this was like in 2012, and I was like this guy's gonna be an NFL head coach like really soon. He's like, I think he's one of the young bright minds in the NFL. I personally like both of them. And I mean, to me, things didn't work out because of the whole RG3 and Kirk Cousins. They would have rather had Kirk Cousins, and that's the reason, in essence, that they're gone. Mm-hmm. Because they were so steadfast on Kirk Cousins. That's why that was a Mike Shanahan. That was a Mike Shanahan pick. Mm-hmm.
So you're saying the Shanahans wanted
they wanted Kirk Cousins? Yeah,
they didn't want RG3.
No.
Oh, for real?
My thing is, that was one of those things where that came from higher up. The RG3 thing came from the higher ups, and I think because their biggest thing they was really high on Ryan Tannehill.
Okay. So the next question I have is, how do you feel about your organization and what they've done?
It's a mess.
Okay.
It's a mess.
Okay.
I mean, the whole Scott McLuhan thing, that's a mess to me. Mm-hmm. I mean, you get rid of this guy pretty much on the eve of the NFL New Year. Thankfully, they did, did their homework as far as keeping, Scott McLuhan's playbook in essence, and had a pretty good draft. Mm-hmm. So I mean, that helped them big time. But I mean, it's a mess, and you got a situation where there's a bunch of yes men, and I think that's the scary thing about going forward. Because when there's going to be certain moves that need to be made, but they're not going to be made because everybody's afraid. Everybody's walking around the eggshells because they have to, in a sense, appease the higher up. Mm-hmm. And that's my thing. Is like, the Doug Williams hire, I like it, but I just really hope it works out for him individually. Mm-hmm. Because I really think he's stepping into something that is that he's in over his head with that situation where I don't think he's going to have that ability to, in my personal opinion, to be himself, because he's going to be walking on eggshells and he's going to have to pretty much answer to Bruce Allen, even though
the biggest competition is them boys, right?
Yeah.
So what they did, I would have thought that okay, we need to do what we need to do and make the certain moves so we can compete. Because I know the Eagles at one time almost won the division. Yeah. I know that the Cowboys and the Atlanta. So. Yeah. Well, I just wanted to ask that. So, but I hope
And I think the draft was good as far as helping, because we got a lot younger on the defensive end, on the defensive line. I like what they did with the draft, but of course that was pretty much Scott McLuhan's homework. I mean, that's what he in essence. That's what he was doing. And I think Scott McLuhan he had us, I think, on a path. And it kind of reminded me a lot of how you guys do it, as far as how you draft guys in certain positions, and you're at a point where you know when to get rid of guys at a certain point. And I think we were getting to that point where we were developing a very nice young core. Mm-hmm. But of course, all this stuff that happened, and he's not there, and I think we were on that type of trajectory, because I think we were kind of building that type of infrastructure But of course, and I don't think that's going to happen now with this new regime, unfortunately.
With us, I noticed like they had the new guys come in, and it's like sometimes I noticed with the older guys, they release them.
Yeah.
But then like halfway through the season, they end up resigning them because somebody get hurt. You know what I mean? And I've noticed they've always done that. And, I don't know how they do that, what's set up, or another team where they just say, hey, look, we're going to put you here. I don't know, what kind of deals they have.
Right.
But I've always noticed that they will get these young guys a chance because they'll be ready.
Mm-hmm.
And they tell the older guys, look, we're going to release you, but then something will happen.
Yeah.
Something always happens, and then those guys end up playing again, probably like a month or two after them being released,
Yeah.
But, okay.
I mean, that's one of those things where I think I don't know. I mean, this is one of those things where I definitely think this is Kirk Cousins' last season with the Redskins, and I just think, I don't know, going forward, who's going to be the guy, I don't know if it's going to be a Colt McCoy, Nate Sudfeld, could it be, one of the guy at USC, the guy at Penn State, I mean, who knows?
And y'all been going through that for a long time.
And that's the problem, and that's why I thought that getting a guy like Kirk Cousins who, could do that. And that's my biggest thing is,
I wanted y'all to get Cutler. Remember back then? I wanted y'all to get
Cutler. Because he was.
Y'all had Campbell, right? And then Cutler was leaving, and I was like, man, I should get Cutler or Campbell. You know what I mean?
Because at first I thought Shanahan was going to get him. But I'm like, man, that's a good thing he did. But I mean, and that's my thing with the whole, that situation. I think we were fine with Shanahan. They just let him go too early.
Would you take Colin?
Kaepernick? Absolutely.
Yeah. So,
I mean, but of course,
you know what's bad about that?
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest with you. If he was to come and play for the Redskins, the economy would. Some people gonna be upset.
It would be.
But the city would rock.
It would be very interesting, especially as the boys are heading down the training camp.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been very interesting. Just how that would have played, as far as just people protesting. Because of course you see a lot of people who protest about the name and just certain things of that nature. So of course,
city would rock. I'm telling you, DC. If that was to happen,
but you gotta understand who's the owner. I'm just being real. I'm gonna just be real with you. This is the same guy who closed a museum in this area just for his children, allegedly. If that don't speak to the narrative that that's not gonna happen, that's gonna speak to me.
Wow.
So what we're gonna do? We take a brief time off, man. We halfway in here on Couch Coach Live, man.
I think it's one of the best shows.
It brings it through. You know what I mean? Hey, it's hot outside. Hey, we got a blaze on our show today. You know what I'm saying? So we'll take a brief time out. We come back in the second half. We'll do our huddle. We'll talk about Ezekiel Elliott. We'll talk about the victory. We'll talk about our top 5 athletes over 30. Some other stuff. So stick around, man. This Couch Coach Live, man. We'll be right back.
Oh, yes.
I mean, watch, man. He gonna be sweet, man. I'm telling you, man. Kirk Cousins is a good quarterback.
It's funny.